go. Ooh, welcome to the Ford Say Goodbye to Your Motherfucking Driver's License. The actual name of this car is the Ford Shelby GT500. It's the GT500 Mustang. It is the king of the mountain. It is the top of the hill. It is the creme de la creme for ponyboy lovers. This thing is wild. It's wild in a multiple amount of ways because it is wildly powerful, wildly quick, wildly capable, and wildly easy to drive. It's tamer than a Hellcat when you're leaving the line. There's actual traction and grip to be found. And part of that is because it has some super sweet Michelin Pilot 4S tires at all four corners, and this is optional that you can fit it with the Cup 2s, but you have to spend a shitload of money for those because it's part of the carbon fiber package, which adds carbon fiber wheels and a few other things. It costs a bit over $18,000 as an option. Let's get the price out of the way right on the front, actually, too. The base price of this, sorry, that was right on. The base price of this is $73,000. As tested, this one is $82,000. I think the most you can spend is $95,000 if you find them without dealer markups. So for under $100,000, what you get is an American sports car that can wipe the floor with a shitload of other vehicles. And how does it do that? Well, it has to do it with raw power because it weighs 4,200 plus pounds. Thankfully though, the 5.2 liter V8 under the hood wears a supercharger as a hat and combined makes 760 fucking horsepower. Torque is like 625 or something like that. It's backed up by a dual clutch 7-speed automatic gearbox. A lot of you go, what about the manual? You know what? I don't even give a shit if it doesn't have a manual gearbox. This transmission is fantastic. It is nearly as telepathic as Porsche's PDK. As soon as you start to grab a paddle, it's like, oh, you want to go there? And it goes there. It shifts incredibly fast. Third gear, boom. If you hold on the shift lever for too long, it'll actually go down extra gears, and on the street, I don't always want it to do that. So I have to just give it a light touch. As soon as you start to pull the lever, it starts to shift. There's no waiting till the end of the shift action. It's like, oh, he wants to shift, let's shift, boom, boom. And it works, and it's awesome. And this is a very powerful Mustang that does very well on the track. It has magnetic damped suspension. It has different driving modes, normal, sport, track. It has a drag strip mode. It has a snow mode. If you drive one of these in the snow with winter tires, you are just a legend until you run into a snowbank. The seats are tight Recaros. If you've got a wide bottom, you might want to get a different seat in here because it is a tight fit. And I've been losing weight. The noise is ferocious and also adjustable. When you fire up the car, it starts off in normal mode. There's a switch down here, a little toggle switch to go from normal to sport to track. First thing I do is put the car in track. But if you want to go past that and not make your neighbors hate you, there's a quiet mode. Thankfully, my neighbor drives a 2009 Ford Mustang and has been drooling over this car. So as soon as I press the start button, it goes right to track. The steering itself is a little vague, but I mean, Ford's doing what it can with a 4,000 plus pound car. The magnetic suspension helps. The giant 16.5-inch front rotors definitely help. And they're steel. There's no ceramics. They're not slotted. They're not drilled. They're just solid steel rotors, and they work damn well. This is a Mustang. You can drive fast on your favorite windy roads. Really fast, really confidently, really big smiles. Oh my God, the noise, the noise, the noise. Woo! I remember I did my Porsche Taycan review and I liked the spaceship sounding noise and the overall everything about that car. However, there's no replacement for V8 noise, lack of abatement. I didn't really have a rhyme there, but V8 noise is king. V8 noise will reign supreme for centuries, even when it's illegal to do so. And we're actually living in Cyberpunk 2077, the game, which will be the same time that game actually comes out anyway. Motherfucking yeehaw. This car is the shit. And I said, it's easier to drive than the Hellcat. I think there's maybe some torque reduction when you leave the line, which helps explain how there's grip, and it's fine because that gets you moving quickly. Car and Driver says this will run from 0 to 60 in the mid to low 3-second range. Obviously the mid-engine exotics are faster, but who gives a shit? They do not sound like this. This thing revs to 7,000 RPM, which is awesome for a V8, though not as good as the GT350. Now this shares the basic block, the 5.2 liter, with that car, but this gets the supercharger, gets a lower rev limit, that revs to 8250, I believe. This makes, I think, 230 plus more horsepower than that awesome car, and the GT350 is awesome. I won't call it a scalpel compared to a hammer because it's still a Mustang. It's still, you know, maybe it's a finely honed hammer and this thing is a sledge, but it is a sledge that can corner. God, automotive cliches are the fucking worst, aren't they? Gotta slow down because there is construction afoot. I love the look of this car, even with its gigantic Billy Big Mouth bass face up front. It works here. The hood vents look awesome. All the extra aero looks wonderful. I like this wing better than the next level up wing because this one's a little bit more subtle, though I know they're both working to actually make downforce. There's a gurney flap. Ford actually limited the top speed of this car to 180 just to focus on other things in the aero. I don't care that this can't go 200, not even a little bit. And if you do, you are fucking crazy. When you do change the different driving modes, the gauge cluster also changes how it looks. You can force it into different views anyway through the fiddling with the buttons. You can change the steering individually. You can change the suspension individually. Right now, steering is in sport, suspension is in normal, and my smile is in full effect. No, but seriously, this car's wild. I still like the ruckus rawness of the Hellcat. I love it. It's so stupid of a vehicle that it's wonderful. And then there's the Durango version coming, which I think is going to be the best one because it's probably going to be quicker to 60. You can bring your friends on your Hellcat adventures. However, I'm bringing my little buddy, not today, she's at daycare, on adventures in this, and she loves the loud car. Daddy, take the race car. Daddy will. This is really good silver paint too. Normally silver is boring. This silver works well. I think that is a vinyl applied stripe, which is an option, but there is a painted stripe, which is $10,000. You don't need that. Save your money. And just enjoy the noise! Oh God, I gotta slow down. That was fun. I was going beep, beep, right then. Tega's kind of spaced out weird today because there's some construction on both ends. Or not construction, the tree trimming and rock removal, which is oddly making for a pretty empty little dance hall. Dance hall was stupid too, I regret saying that. Lots of regrets today. Not regretting driving the car. Oh, I gotta talk about fuel economy before I forget. It's fucking laughable. I filled the tank before I went on this little adventure and it said distance to empty was 186 miles. I'm averaging 11.6 according to the onboard calculator right now. I've seen as high as 12. I'm sure driving on a track, you would just probably be under, I mean, if you're probably under 10 on a racetrack. But, I mean, do you care? You can afford it because you just bought this car. Is it possible to have range anxiety in a gas-powered car? We're getting close here.